Welcome to Biblical Christian Content, where we like to keep the content biblical. Let's go.
On the uncommon virtue of humility, I'm seeking to define humility as a distinctly Christian virtue.
I have to petition everyone that's watching this video. If you desire to help me reach more people with biblical truth, then do me a favor. At minimum, hit the like and hit the subscribe to generate more push to get biblical Christian content to more hearts, more minds, and more souls. Thank you. Enjoy the video.
So first, he defined virtue like this: the habitual good exercises and inclinations of the heart toward good things. And the virtue consists in the beauty of those exercises of the heart. And then he defined uncommon virtues like this. First, they're uncommon, and this is least important, because they're rare in culture and in the church. Most important is this: he said that they're uncommon virtues because they are rooted in what makes us Christian. In other words, the uncommon virtues flow from union with Christ. On the uncommon virtue of humility, I'm seeking to define humility as a distinctly Christian virtue. The roots of humility are the superiority of Christ and my spiritual perception of it with the eyes of my heart. That's foundational and root for this disposition to be glad in it. See the difference? He is that, he is superior, and by grace I've seen it. And now humility is born. I'm glad to have it so. I'm pleased that he is exalted above me in every way. That's the essence of humility I'm arguing. The fruits of humility would also be another sermon, and that's the attitudes, words, actions that flow from being glad in the superiority of Christ and being brokenhearted because of my sinful bent to exalt myself. I'll give you an example of what I mean by this fruit, because I think this is Here's where our paths might grow apart if I'm not careful. Philippians 2:3, very famous passage on humility. Paul says in verse 3 of Philippians 2, in humility, dative, probably a dative of instrument, something like that. In or by humility, count others more significant than yourselves. Count others, the worst of people, count them more significant. That is, worthy of your Christ-like, humble, crucified service. That's not humility in its essence. That's the act of humility. He says, do that in humility. So I'm distinguishing the essence from the roots and the fruits. And between the fruits, which are gloriously beautiful when they are lived out, between the fruits and the roots, there is this: the disposition of the heart to be pleased with the infinite superiority of Christ over ourselves in every way. Or it's the heart's gladness that Jesus is infinitely greater than we are. We're just so glad to have it so. I hope you, maybe once a day, try this if you don't do it. Once a day, find a little private spot, get down on your knees, hold your hands out and say, I'm not God, and I'm glad. Just do that. It's just really good habit. One more qualification. Just to say it again, I've said it already. The heart's gladness that Jesus is infinitely greater than we are in every way, mingled in this life, in this sinful life, mingled with the groaning that self-exaltation still competes for my affections. So, for now, in this life, the uncommon virtue of humility will always be a groaning gladness and a glad groaning. You won't ever get beyond that till you're dead. The reason that's important to see and to stress is that someday we will be completely delivered of our love for self-exaltation. Won't that be a good day? We will be finally purified to sin no more, and in that day, when there's no sin whatsoever to humble us, we will still be humble. Humility will always be glad in his superiority. It'll always be sad because I'm still competing with him for the throne. You hate it, you kill it, and there it comes again. That warfare is a good sign, folks. It's a good sign. Don't panic.